What is up, people of the YouTube again? We are back at it with some more performance upgrades for this Harley Davidson Road Glide. So, most people think performance for a Harley, they're thinking, oh, gotta make it louder, or gotta make it a bigger motor, gotta cam it, etc. That's great. I love all those kinds of mods, but if you're doing those mods and you're not doing suspension, you're not doing brakes, you're essentially the same kind of guy that lifts a pickup truck and doesn't change the tires. So, we're going to go ahead and do a huge performance upgrade on this Road Glide, and it is going to be the brakes. We have got some Lyndall brake pads. These things run cool, clean, and quiet. They've got no break-in required. And Lyndall says they'll last for about 18,000 miles, and they'll give you 20% more braking. So on a 950-pound bike, that's kind of a must-have. For the price that you're paying for these, it's a huge upgrade, and I think everybody should definitely keep this in mind when they're looking at building their bagger. All right, guys, let's get into it. All right, guys, this is gonna be a relatively easy install. You're gonna need your 10mm socket first. You're gonna stick it on these two bolts that hold on the brake caliper, and you are simply going to take those off. Keep in mind that these are a 12-point bolt head, so you have to have the 12-point, or they look like the ARP bolts. You don't want to just have the regular 6-sided. Those will strip your bolts. Not a good day. Alright, so now that we have the caliper off of the bike, the next step is to get this heat shield off. Always take the top off before the bottom. Just wedge a screwdriver in there, and it should come off pretty easy. These things aren't supposed to be hard to get off. There we go. Your hands will get covered in a little bit of brake dust, is what it is. Come on. There we go. Alrighty, so there is one. See if we can get a good angle on it. This is your retaining clip. You're gonna wanna pull that guy out, also using a flathead. You really don't wanna damage this, so be careful. It should come off really easy, just like that. Boom. Okay, last thing before you remove these brake pads. Surprise, these ones are actually looking pretty good. These ones have 10,000 miles on them, guys, and they actually are still got a good amount of material on them. All right, regardless, last thing you're gonna wanna do is you're going to want to spread these pads. So stick your screwdriver in there and spread them apart so that you have room for the new ones, because the new ones will obviously have more material than the old ones because they haven't been used yet. Oh, sorry guys, hard to keep a good angle on this. There we go. All right, so those are now spread apart. Essentially you want to spread apart the most that you can, because that just makes it easier to get your caliper back on the rotor. All right, so how we're gonna take these pads out is you have got your Allen. For this one, I don't believe this is the correct size because it's gonna be a metric in here, but this is a 3/16, and you stick it in this one. It is not one of the big ones, it is one of the small ones. And you pull this Allen out, and your brake pads may come falling out at this point. There we go. That's what that looks like. See how there's a rivet on it for that retaining pin? Okay. Now, your brake pads will just come right out. So you essentially just pull them between that top notch. Let's see if we can get this one to do it for you. See, that top notch, and pull it right out. Boom, there's your old brake pad. So now we're gonna take our new Lyndall pads. We're gonna open up this box for you. Make sure you don't scratch the face of these pads when you open them. Want them to be nice and free-ish for your motorcycle. All right. Let's take a look. This is what your new Lyndall brake pad looks like. This is what the old one looks like. You can tell there's a slight difference in the amount of material because this is 10,000 miles of wear. There you go. So you can see there's quite a bit of difference. Different material too. Lyndall pads should last longer. Let me just grab that second one and we will get going. All right, so here we go. We've got these two Lyndall brake pads. We have got our caliper, and this side with the hole is gonna go towards the bottom of the caliper if we're holding it like this. So we're just gonna slide them in. Make sure our hole's lined up on the bottom. There is a little bit of spring pressure on the top side. There we go. Now it is all in place. Push it to the side that it's supposed to be on. Grab your other one. Slide it in the same way. And it goes right into place. Okay. Now we are reassembling. So take your pin that's covered in brake dust, stick it in, make sure it goes all the way through. Take your 3/16, screw it in. All right, so the torque value for this is in inch-pounds. So I'm not sure what it is, but do not over torque it. Just give it a good old snug. Take your retaining pin that we took out before, stick it around, it's hard to see in there probably, but around the ledge, and it just sits right where it was last time. Okay. Make sure that your pads are sitting flat. All right, now with those pads properly reinstalled, remember that the one tab goes on the top and the bottom. With two, it goes on the bottom. That just snaps back. Go all the way down to the bottom of your rotor. Bring it up to the top. Grab your screws from earlier if you can find them. Or bolts, excuse me. Get them started. Then take your 10 mil. Get them snug. Then tighten them down. I like to do it evenly just for good measure. I don't think that's required, but it is what it is. Make sure these ones are tight. These ones don't have the retaining clip like the other ones, so it's in foot-pounds, not in inch-pounds. But again, it is aluminum, so don't be stupid. Just make sure they're tight. All right. All right, guys, the final tidbit that you gotta do when you're doing your front brakes is you gotta make sure you check your brake system afterwards. When you push the brake pads back into the caliper with the screwdriver like I showed you earlier, which creates space for the new material, but most of the times your pads will still be too far away from the rotor to do anything. So I bet you when I squeeze this lever, it won't do anything. Yep, it goes all the way in. That's my front brake. So you got to squeeze it a bunch of times to essentially gain your braking power back. Make sure that those pads are contacting the rotors so that when you're going down the road and actually squeeze this brake, something actually happens. You don't want to squeeze it all the way to the hand grip and then realize, oh crap. So that's how you install the new Lyndall brake pads for a Harley Davidson Road Glide. Well guys, I hope you appreciate my install video on the Lyndall brake pads for your front 2 brakes on your Harley Davidson Road Glide. It's a huge performance improvement, and for the money that you're paying, it's way cheaper than doing anything like a cam or motor build, and it's going to improve, I mean, I don't know who tracks these, but it's going to improve your time on the track because you can brake later. Anyways guys, if you like videos like this, definitely be sure to like and subscribe to my videos. We got a bunch more coming out for this Road Glide, including a lot of performance mods. So I'll see you then.